You think that everything he's done in Real Madrid these last few years, it's all built on 9 years worth of connections. It's all built on 9 years worth of understanding your teammates, your coaches, your environment, all of those things. And it is a big change. It is a big change to make a 33 years old. I think personally, even in amongst that, he's shown those moments. He's shown that the talent is still there. We knew that the talent was still there anyway, but he still had those moments like today when he forced that save out of Strakosha. The fact that he was there, even if he didn't actually score the goal, which became 2-0 when Mandzukic put it in, the fact that he made that run and was there, he's still got it. He's still going to get this team and work it out. But it's understandable, I think, that it takes him a little while to do that.
And I think also that with Allegri, as we know, that when we were discussing that this is a very typical Juventus performance, in that, you know, they start off well, always invite the opposition to come and have a go at them, and then they usually end it with a win, or at least try to fight back like they did against Kiev. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's going to introduce something more of a beautiful style of play, let's say, or at least, you know, the typical, what they say, something a little bit more fluid in attack, or whether this typical Juventus style of play that we saw a lot of last season will continue. But we need to get the best out of them.
Absolutely. I think the one thing just to add on that is that Allegri has done this every season in Turin, right? Yes. I was actually just going through this for a piece the other day. In his 4 seasons so far at Juventus, there's only been 1 season in which he started the season and finished the season with the same formation. And even then, there was a lot of variance along the way. He does this every year. He comes with a group of players and he says, okay, I wonder what the best way of making this work is. He's a pragmatist, and this is how he finds his answers, is by trying different things.
Let's see what happens in November. That's usually when it starts to click.
Stevie, speaking of just adjusting to a new league, could it just be that it's just harder to score in Serie A?
I don't think so. He had plenty of shots on goal today, the same as he did last couple of seasons. I mean, his shots to goal average in the last couple of years at Real Madrid wasn't particularly great, and he had a ton of shots again today and didn't score. So seems to me it's same old, same old.
Let me counter that for 1 second. Since 1957, 2 players in Serie A have been over 30 goals. In La Liga, you had players scoring nearly 50 league goals, 48, 46. I think in Serie A, the bottom half of the table, the small teams defend unlike anything that Ronaldo's seen in La Liga. That's why I think that if he gets over 20 goals, I think that'll be a successful season for him. I mean, he scored 25 and 26, but the bottom half of the table, those teams are disciplined, they defend well, they're organized. In my opinion, I think Ronaldo's really going to get a tough test, especially in this stage of his career.
My thing is, Ronaldo continues to be an incredible talent, and if Juventus provide chances, he will get the goals. And as much as I understand exactly what Matteo is saying, I think Ronaldo's qualities have shone through, regardless of whether he's played against the top clubs in Spain, the bottom clubs in Spain, or indeed in European football.
So you're saying it's easier?
No, I'm not saying it's easier. I'm saying let's wait to see. But let's also keep in mind that we are talking about a Ronaldo who is now past his prime. And when we're talking about players who scoring 40 and 50 goals a season in La Liga, we are talking about Ronaldo and Messi. These are 2 players, the 2 best players of a generation by some distance. That's not how Ronaldo won't be judged, and his season won't be judged on whether it's a success or failure, on whether he breaks his La Liga tally of last season. And let's not start making those comparisons. It's about whether he can make Juventus better in the Champions League. That's all, be all and end all.
Where are Milan going? I mean, you know, it's one thing to try and pass the ball out the back, but even when they actually got out the back, there didn't seem any direction or any drive or any... There was no flamboyance at all. You think of AC Milan, the name AC Milan, you think of flamboyance and goals and stars. This team is a million miles away from that.
It seems that now every goalkeeper, every team wants them to be Manuel Neuer. Gigio Donnarumma, the teenage goalkeeper who's been there for a few seasons, who really hasn't been himself now in 2 years. The 17-year-old Donnarumma was the best version we've seen of the goalkeeper. And Gattuso's forcing this team with Lucas Biglia, who's been mistake-prone as the deepest midfielder, and Donnarumma, who is not comfortable on the ball. He hasn't been. That's not his game. That's not the kind of goalkeeper he is. But it seems now that forcing this kind of style and trying to play out of the back like this, you could tell throughout the game that there was a mistake waiting to happen, and then it finally did. It was Biglia, it was Donnarumma who gave the ball away. I don't think this style suits them. You have Pepe Reina on the bench, who literally played this style with Napoli for the last 5 seasons. Put him on.
Well, with that said, and of course the fact that these players are looking a bit uncomfortable, so how long now before Antonio Conte steps in? Because we saw him in the crowd, and we're feeling like Gattuso's on borrowed time here, Matteo. So what do you think?
Listen, Conte, for everything he's won with Juventus, I don't think it's not the kind of football that Milan are trying to build. It's a very defensive football. I don't know if they have the right players for that system. They tried to go to a back three last season under Montella. It was a disaster. So I don't know if Conte is the answer. Gattuso's still very improving at the highest level, but give him a bit of a chance still going forward.
Welcome into Extra Time. Alexis Nunes here with the usual faces of Shaka Hyssop and Stevie Nicol. But we do have a new face, Matteo Bonetti, who's looking very dapper.
Nice jacket, Matteo.
Nice jacket.
People tell me I'm a little bit more charming. This is Shaka's jacket.
He
I feel
stole
the
Shaka's jacket.
That dandruff he was flicking after.
It's a... Shaka doesn't have dandruff, Stevie. Shaka doesn't have flaws. It's tall, dark, and
I know.
Oh, I knew it wasn't
dandruff.
I knew it wasn't Shaka.
I was just saying.
Who wore it better, though?
I'm not sure.
Who wore it better?
I'm not sure if I can wear it. I'm not sure if I can wear it again.
Stevie Nicol earlier told me that he's feeling less of a man in between.
That's a lot of rubbish.
These two
I never
tall
said
drinks
that
of
at
water.
all.
That's harsh.
That's a lot of rubbish.
I would like to know how it came up where Stevie says to you, Alexis, I'm feeling less of a bad.
Okay,
all kinds of questions there.
I may have
to quote
mentioned.
Stevie, he says, I'm feeling a little wee in the middle here.
Thank you. I may have mentioned something to do with the height of these two giants here.
Stevie,
that could be interpreted all kinds of ways.
I think he's body shaming us as well.
Right, let me tell
Never
you
know how
something.
Napoleon felt.
Now you know how Napoleon felt.
Stevie can't body shame anybody.
Napoleon was a feisty one, though, so you got that. All right, shall we take some
Yeah,
questions?
let's carry on before we get
All right,
in trouble.
so this one's from Stateside Syria. He says, Calabria gave AC Milan their second goal with a nice assist from Suso, who Stevie Nicol said doesn't create chances. Embarrassed face. Stevie, the people have called you out.
We have to say for yourself.
What do you have to say for yourself, Stevie?
They're looking banners. Suso.
Yes, you said he doesn't create chances.
Well,
then?
see, actually, if
Here
you want to be technical, what I said was, I don't see them creating anything for Higuain. Now, somebody like Suso is going to create a chance for somebody. But Calabria, is he going to keep creating chances for Calabria? Is that what it's about?
Your argument was.
My argument was.
You create chances, but just not for Higuain.
Not for Higuain.
Okay, so, how quickly we've changed our arguments. Matteo, since you're a Serie A expert now, is Stevie just being harsh? Does Stevie know what he's talking about?
So what Stevie doesn't know is that's actually my second Twitter account, and that was me. And I'll tell you, new prescription is needed. I think Suso's one of the better creators in Serie A. The best creator for Milan. I'm going to stand by it.
I tell you what, you're picking on. I've got an affliction. I've got bad eyes. And you're picking on.
Oh, Stevie.
I mean, that's brilliant.
Let's not play the
Don't
victim.
go there.
Now.
That's brilliant.
Come on. Let's not play the victim.
How many assists did Suso have last year?
I want to go for 7, but chances
create.
Chances
a
create.
whole 7.
He didn't have anyone putting them away. Who was putting them away?
Quick,
no one.
Quick, Real Madrid's on the phone.
Real Madrid's there now.
Sorry, yeah, it's Real Madrid here. Yeah, we want to sign Suso because he had 7 assists last year. That's incredible.
Well, look at me. I'm leaving that to you all.
I'll take it back.
I'm staying out to this.
Didn't have a striker. Now he's got Higuain.
I take back everything I said. If
All right.
7.
Glad we settled that one. Let's move on now to this question from Nick. He wants to know, Stevie, how nervous were you watching Liverpool just get past Brighton, and how happy were you, or are you, to see them at the top of the table?
I'll tell you what, I had a nervous 10 minutes from about the 75th to the 85th. Something went astray. They didn't look quite as composed as they had been the whole of the game. But then, when Alisson comes up with the save in the last couple of minutes, it's one of them. You know what? That's why you spend the big money on a proper goalkeeper. So. I was a little 10-minute spell. I was on the edge of my seat.
Why look at me when you say proper goalkeeper?
Because you were a proper goalkeeper.
Shaka, did you notice how Stevie went serious
Once
again?
again.
When we're talking about
Do you know
Liverpool?
what?
Talk about this yesterday.
We talk about Liverpool. You see
Everything
that?
I was thinking about it.
Everybody else.
When I was talking.
Hello!
But ask any question about Liverpool and Stevie goes, well, I'll have you know.
I did get slightly nervous.
Now that we're talking about a real side in
I did get
football.
slightly nervous. Maybe the 75th idea.
See, there we go. All right, so Kartik wants to know, this one's for Matteo. Kartik, Matteo, he's asking, Napoli made a terrific comeback to win the match 3-2. So in your opinion, have they started to get used to Ancelotti's tactics, or are they only a real threat, or are they the only real threat to Juventus's dominance?
Can you believe that people thought that Napoli were in trouble when they went from Maurizio Sarri, who was a banker, 6 years ago, to one of the most legendary managers in world football. Of course, there wouldn't be a drop-off with Carleto.
Shaka had doubts. Let me just point people out right now. Shaka said he wasn't.
An incredible player-manager, knows how to get the dressing room ticking, and they love him in Italy. I thought that was a great appointment.
Yeah, Shaka.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh, how quickly we changed
That's exactly what I said yesterday.
I remember. I heard you.
Thanks, Stevie.
Okay, speaking of Shaka, Sean wants to know, is St. James's Park a top 5 atmosphere in the Premier League?
It was when I was there.
But then since you left, nobody else wants to go because Shaka's not there.
It was a long time ago. I was 2006. I left. It was, without question, in my mind, one of the best atmospheres in the Premier League.
Top 5.
My experience.
What's your number 1?
My favorite place to play, Anfield.
Oh God! It's because you sat so close to Stevie.
No, seriously. I know I have to get serious.
Oh,
Yes.
Now we're talking about Liverpool. Yes. Everybody get serious.
Get serious.
During my playing days, my favorite away ground.
Show some respect.
Show some respect, right?
Because it was lovely.
Do you notice how Stevie's chest went higher?
Oh, apparently,
it's chest day for him at the gym.
Apparently, a couple hours ago, he's feeling like less of a man. That's what I heard.
Oh,
a bit of a turnaround.
He was just feeling less of a man, and now he's feeling like all the men.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Masculinity in this room.
I wouldn't say that myself.
I comment. Don't know where we go with that.
Sorry?
You feel better?
Oh, I feel great.
Oh, there you go. And Matteo survived his first extra time.
Yeah!
Shout out to myself for that.
Wait till it gets nasty. Wait till they all start coming out.
Himself.
I know. Anyways, guys, make sure to catch our show, ESPN FC. Remember, we are available daily, 7 days a week on ESPN+.
Crazy movement and creating chances and scoring goals, but that didn't happen today. But the important thing is they did score and they kept a clean sheet. Again, at Anfield, we've been used to Liverpool letting up late goals at home, particularly somebody making a mistake and the roof caves in. Well, today we saw exactly why you go and spend money on the best players. Liverpool bought Alisson, the goalkeeper.
Unai Emery picks up his first points as Arsenal manager as the Gunners had to fight back from a goal down to beat West Ham today in the London derby. Stevie, your biggest takeaways from this game?
How average Arsenal are.
So nothing to be excited about.
How bad West Ham are. Yeah, listen, Arsenal, yes, they got the victory. Yes, they deserved it. They were the better side over the 90 minutes, but at half-time, I'm sure Unai Emery was a little worried. West Ham sitting tight and breaking. Second half, completely different ball game. But both of these teams, my goodness. I mean, Arsenal now are a team that are striving to get into the Europa League. They are not a top 4 side whatsoever. And West Ham, for all the money that they've spent recently, they're bang average.
Well, I suppose we're used to speaking about West Ham like this, with all due respect. And no offense to our boy Shaka Hislop, we know how much he loves West Ham. But talking about Arsenal now, because it seemed like a new chapter. And people said, of course, they're going to go through some teething pains with Unai Emery, who's trying to implement a new style. And maybe we shouldn't worry yet. But if they're just going to be fighting for a Europa League spot, then how worried should they be? What's just not clicking yet?
They're not challenging for titles in Champions League because the players they have aren't good enough. That's the bottom line. Arsenal are going out and signing players that the top clubs didn't want. That is just the plain truth, and the consistency's not there. And Unai Emery can play any sort of way he wants. He can have any formation, but the bottom line is, individually, Arsenal's players aren't good enough to be in the top 4 or challenge for the top 4. That's just a fact.
Strong words there from Stevie Nicol. Well, the Gunners managed to pick up some points today, but as Stevie said, it's not much to be excited about. Stevie Nicol joining me as Wolves managed to hold Manchester City to a 1-1 draw. The Premier League champions dropping points today. Stevie, this was a game with a lot of controversy. I'm sure City would have loved to have video assistant referee, but that definitely was not the case. Starting with the goal for Wolves. Clear handball?
Yeah, no question. If it doesn't outball his hand, the ball was going wide. So yeah, I mean, just a huge mistake from the officials.
Do you sympathise with the refs? Because at first glance, it would have been hard for us to pick it out.
Yes, I mean you've got to. Listen, there are 4 officials, and you expect one of them to see an incident. But listen, the first time I saw it, I didn't think it was a handball either. So I think you can let the officials off with this on this occasion, but that doesn't do City any good.
At all. Well, that was just one of a couple other controversial moments. There was David Silva, who was brought down as well by Neves. Sergio Aguero had a penalty shout. Which of these two do you think deserved the penalty, or did both?
I'm mystified why David Silva wasn't given a penalty kick. I mean, it just couldn't be any clearer for me that that's a penalty. He's all over his back. He catches him with his right foot. I mean, it's got penalty written all over it. Aguero, I think, he just falls over. He gets a little tap and he falls over. But again, it doesn't do City any good. And I think City deserve to win this game, to be honest. They hit the wood, what 3 times? Mm-hmm. Patricio made the save of the season so far. It was just one of those days for City.
So no panic to set in just now?
No, absolutely not.
All right, well, no panic for Manchester City. They did drop points today, but Stevie Nicol says, and I'm sure it happens. Yeah. Liverpool managed to get a 1-0 win over Brighton thanks to a goal from who else? But Mo Salah, of course, Stevie Nicol. Stevie, they were all over Brighton in the first half. After the game, James Milner came out and said, like, look, we got the result, but we could have done better. Where do you think they could have done better?
I think definitely in the attacking half of the field. We're so used to seeing and expecting that front 3 of Salah, Mane and Firmino doing everything at electric pace and scoring goals and making chances. So far, the 3 of them haven't really quite got in sync, but as you said, they won the game, and that's the most important thing.
Well, speaking of important,
I mean, goalkeepers just stick to what you do, and he did that. He made that save with a couple of minutes to go, and that.
Stevie Nicol joining me as we look back on a big one in the city this weekend. Juventus managing a 2-0 win over Lazio, this time in Cristiano Ronaldo's home debut for the Bianconeri. Unfortunately for Ronaldo fans, and him mainly, probably, he did not get on the score sheet, Stevie. But we talked about some jitters or some, discomforts that we saw from Juventus's first performance against Chievo Verona. Did you see much of an improvement today against Lazio?
Honestly, not particularly. It was a little bitty. They still deserve to win the game. Ronaldo, as always, trying shots that weren't really on, shooting from anywhere and everywhere, smashed a free kick into the wall, and really did everything but score. Juventus as a whole, though, not particularly impressive, but Lazio, I was more disappointed than Lazio than anything. They did have plenty of the ball. Certainly more of the ball than I expected them to have, but they looked toothless up front. So it's a comfortable 2-0 victory for Juventus, but as you said, unfortunately for Ronaldo, no goal.
Exactly, and why is that, Stevie, do you still think he's not quite comfortable where he is? Do you think Allegri needs to switch things up a little bit?
No, I think Lazio certainly, in the penalty box, always had somebody tight to him, so he didn't get a lot of space. Got a couple of headers that he may have done better with, but Lazio didn't give him an awful lot of room in the box, and that was probably more to do it than anything, any failure that Ronaldo had.
And if you're Allegri, are you satisfied with his performance?
It was a typical Juventus performance for me. They always manage to figure out how to get the 3 points, and they did that today.
All right, well, Cristiano Ronaldo did help or play a part in one of the goals, that second goal, so maybe that will help him sleep a little easier tonight.